Hey guys, it's me, 80s from 4. So today, guys, we're back at it again for World Cup Match Day 3 reaction. I technically, yeah, it's Match Day 3. Well, I mean, it's Day 3 of the World Cup, let's just say, not Match Day 3. So it's Day 3 of the World Cup, and today we'll be going through the 4 games. We had a lot of crazy stuff happen today, a lot of crazy upsets, a lot of crazy scenes, and we're going to get through a lot of this for today, guys, a lot to go through. Obviously, I did watch the highlights for, let me just tell you games, which ones I watch highlights and which one I actually watched the full match. So, the two early games for today, I did watch the highlights. I didn't get to see the games. And then the later 2 games, I did see the full game. So I can give a more in-depth analysis for those 2 games. And so forth. Remember, guys, if you're not here, consider watching the whole video. Like to see if you enjoy. Comment down below your thoughts in the comment section below. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started, man. Let's go ahead and get started. So let's start with the first game which we have. The big upset. Argentina versus Saudi Arabia. What upset, man. What upset. I want you guys to comment down below. Is this the greatest upset of all time? Because it honestly might be. The way Saudi Arabia played were brilliant. Saudi Arabia gave everything they did today. And this is what I said in my preview leading up to the tournament is that Saudi Arabia is by no means a pushover nation. I saw a lot of people put them at bottom of the group, and they're heavily disrespected. Did they not see what they did in the Asian qualifiers? They topped the group over Japan. And we recognize Japan as one of the best Asian nations. But I think we got to show the same energy for Saudi Arabia because today they defended like warriors. Absolutely brilliant, you know, and they mastered the offside trap very well because Argentina, man, they played really well. I don't think Argentina had a bad game necessarily, but I think they messed up a bit, which we'll get into in a bit later. But Argentina opened the score with Lionel Messi converting the penalty. Definitely penalty. Easy penalty for Messi. And then from that point on, Argentina were working, they were scoring goals, but they seemed to get offside. And Saudi Arabian players, they knew how to time the players very well, and they put them in the right position. So I believe Argentina actually scored 3 offside goals. I think one of which was from Messi. I think one was from Lautaro. And I think I forgot from the replay. I think it was I forgot who scored the third one. I know Messi did. I know Lautaro did. I have to double check, but I know someone else scored a third offside goal. Maybe you guys can check for me tell me in the comment section below. But in the Saudi Arabia for the second half they were great. Romero making that mistake. Romero should have done better. For the first goal, it was a nice goal there, and then the second goal. That second goal was crazy. Even Emi Martinez was actually really close to saving it. I think he got his hands on it, but it went in, and oh my God, Saudi Arabia comes from behind to pick up crucial win, and their keeper having to make some brilliant saves right at the end. I believe, what is it? I know Messi. They almost scored right at the end, but he made a good save, and he made 5 saves in the day. You got to give credit to the keeper, and I think for Argentina, this is a really bad position because now they're bottom of the group and they have Mexico and Poland. And theoretically speaking, Saudi Arabia is, on paper, the worst team in the group. So now they have to play much better against Mexico, Poland, which we'll get into in a bit. So I'm not going to speak too much about that here. But it is now putting Argentina in a very interesting position. And for me, their midfield, man. I don't think DePaul and Paredes can play together. I think the two don't really look together. And I think Argentina's midfield was really poor in the day, in my opinion. And I just think for Argentina, man, they needed this reality check. I think they needed this reality check because coming into this World Cup, they haven't played any World Cup teams. They didn't play a single World Cup team as any of their friendlies. And I think that's a very worrying thing is that for Argentina, they needed this wake-up call. Because, like I said, guys, would you rather have a wake-up call in the group stage or around a knockout stage? I think it's better to have in the group stage because now Argentina have to put everything they can against Mexico. And that might be a must-win game for them against Mexico, depending on what Poland do against Saudi Arabia. So, like I said for Argentina, man, if they don't win that game against Mexico, they're in big trouble and could already be eliminated in the group stage. If Argentina gets eliminated in the group stage, you're going to have a serious conversation. And that's going to be really embarrassing, and Scaloni will probably get sacked if that's the case. So, I want you guys to further comment on this. Obviously, it's difficult for me to comment on this match a lot just because I only watched the highlights, so I didn't watch the full match, so I can't give you the best analysis, but I try to give the best analysis I possibly could, judging from the highlights. And I think then highlights did a good job of the match. So, I want you guys to do if you guys did watch the whole match, please let me know what you guys think went wrong for Argentina tactically, because I think Javier Hernández did his tactics right. I think Javier Hernández nullified Argentina playing that low block, and I think that stifled Argentina. And we saw even in the qualifiers, the likes of Ecuador, what is it called, Chile, and then obviously Paraguay. They gave them tough games. In fact, fun fact for you guys: Argentina beat Paraguay home and away in the qualifiers, and you could see how Paraguay and Saudi Arabia are very similar, very physical, very defensively sound. They're very difficult to break down, and it is very interesting. So, like I said, I feel like I spent enough time on this one in particular, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next match. But yeah, I want you guys to further comment on this one. All right, let's go to the next one, guys. Denmark and Tunisia. Yeah, I did not see this coming. I did not see this coming. I really didn't. I wrote up Tunisia like an idiot. I completely disrespected them, and they proved what they can do because today they were great. They were amazing today. They were absolutely brilliant. I think for Denmark in particular, they played well as well, but I think Tunisia played well as well. I think a draw is probably a fair result. I think both teams played really well. Tunisia goalkeeper made some really good saves. And for Denmark in particular, I just think they lack that striker. I think that striker is really the issue for Denmark because I don't think Dolberg is really that good. I don't think Cornelis is not really that good. And then you still have Braithwaite and Poulsen. None of them are really good. That's the problem with Denmark. There's not like any top class striker. That's the problem with Denmark. And I feel like for Tunisia in particular, I feel like they defended really well. I think they defended very well, and you saw how much it meant to everything to them. And this is a huge valuable point for Tunisia. This is a huge valuable point for them. As for Denmark, this is going to be very interesting now because now they draw points against Tunisia, and now it puts them in a really interesting position against France, which should be really interesting. Obviously, we'll discuss that soon in a bit. But yeah, I mean, for Denmark, man, very disappointing. For Tunisia, man, huge point for them. And their next game is against Australia, and they have to win that game. If they want to advance out of this group, they have to win against Australia. And given what we saw from Australia today, I think they honestly could give them a good account for themselves. So huge point for Tunisia, man. I'm happy they proved me wrong. I like to be proven wrong. I like to see upsets, and it's another upset, man. And once again, another Arabic nation getting a good result here. Another good result. This game was kind of dry though. There wasn't a whole lot of, big moments per se. But I don't think the game was necessarily boring. But the game was definitely exciting. But it's just like there wasn't really a whole lot of, huge chances. I think Christian Eriksen getting that chance to see the minute. But yeah, the saying goes, guys, World Cup, anything can happen. I think we learned from today is that the World Cup, anything can happen in the World Cup is that expect the unexpected. Like upsets are very capable. Upsets can very much happen in the World Cup. Okay. Now let's talk about the next game. The next game we have here, it is Poland, Mexico versus Poland. Now I actually did a watch along for this game, so you guys can check the watch along out if you guys want. If you guys want, maybe I could do like a highlight. Maybe I could do like some timestamps for you guys to see the key moments of the game. But overall, this game wasn't really that great. If we're being honest, like both teams were pretty mediocre in the day. Mexico honestly should have won this game. The amount of chances they had in this game was ridiculous. And you got to give credit to Szczesny. Szczesny was great for Poland today. I think the Poland back line did a great job. I think Alexis Vega was disappointing. I think Martin was disappointing. And overall, Mexico just looked really bad. Like, the thing with Mexico I noticed with this game is that they were in the right position, but they just couldn't seem to finish. And that's the problem for Mexico. And now we have the big moment, as I shown here in the thumbnail, as shown here on the image. Robert Lewandowski with that penalty. He earned the penalty himself, and surely you would expect him to score, right? Well, he went the right way, but the keeper saved it. The keeper saved, went to the right, and Lewandowski, man, once again, man. I always said this about him, and I'm going to continue to say this about him. Lewandowski is just terrible under pressure. Whenever there's a big pressure upon him to perform, he just never shows up. And that's my point with Lewandowski is that, honestly, this was a huge, because let's be real, guys. If Poland had scored that penalty, they probably win the game 1-0. Just judging how the game was going, the game was either going to end 0-0 or 1-0. Like, both teams just didn't want to score, And I think this penalty itself is very huge. And I actually think Argentina is actually the big beneficiaries from this because of the fact that Argentina actually lost their game, as we know. Now Argentina can now rest briefly because now if Mexico or Poland had won, Mexico or Poland would have been on 3 points. Let's just say it would have been Poland just because they had that penalty. It would have been big pressure on the Argentina-Mexico game where Argentina needs to win that game. Like, a draw wouldn't be enough. And then Poland plays Saudi Arabia. So now Argentina is lucky that Mexico and Poland tied. And now all they need to do is to beat Mexico. They have to beat Mexico on match day 2. And Mexico is be playing everything they want on the line because now they've tied the game. And they know that Mexico knows that they need to get a result. So, as I said, huge point for Poland and the quest to get that second place spot. And this group is going to be interesting now. This group is interesting now, and so forth. So, as I said, for Mexico, man, very disappointing. Poland, on the other hand, I think they did okay. I think defensively looked good. Attacking wise, I thought they were terrible. I didn't think Poland looked great attacking wise. And the ski, Lewandowski barely created anything in this game. I think the only shot in this game he had was a penalty, and he couldn't even score that. Alexis Vega, Lozano, and it's really this Mexican team looks really bad. Like I said, guys, this is probably the worst Mexican team we've seen in years. So, as I said, guys, huge result for Poland, and yeah. All right, now we're gonna go into the final game, the final game. France 4, Australia 1. France, man. France. When Australia scored that first goal, I was thinking to myself, are we really going to see the Champions curse? Because I thought to myself, hold up, Australia might be able to get a draw here. I knew Australia weren't going to win the game. I knew there was no chance. But I always had a feeling they might get a draw here. And Australia scored the opening goal. I'm like, yeah, Australia could do something, right? But I told myself, hold up. Don't get too excited because France is capable of making a comeback. And look what they did. Rabiot scoring that nice header there to make it 1-1. And the Rabiot intercepting there from a poor giveaway from Australia's back line, giving it to Giroud. Giroud scoring the empty tap-in to make it 2-1. And then from that point on, it was really, the second half was really all France. France wingers and fullbacks were dominating the game. Theo Hernandez came on, and I thought he had a great, fantastic game. Commiserations with Lucas Hernandez. Hopefully he can get a speedy recovery. And Theo Hernandez was great in this game. I think Giroud got the assist for the Mbappe goal. Mbappe, nice header. And then Mbappe plays. It makes a great cross for Giroud to score the fourth goal. And France just won this game routine. It was a 4-1 win for them at the end. They probably were the most convincing nation of the four of the nations we have seen so far. But context is very key, though, that this is Australia. And with all due respect, guys, Australia are one of the worst nations in this year's World Cup, in my opinion. They qualified to this World Cup and saw craziness, some crazy circumstances. And so you got to give credit to France, though. They did it. They pulled it through. The Champions curse, it's not there anymore, it seems. And now France have a very interesting game against Denmark, where Denmark probably need to win that game to have their hopes for the qualification. And as for Australia, man, it's looking very rough for them at the moment. At least they scored a goal, though, so at least they can feel proud of that. But Australia, man, defensively, they just looked terrible. France, the wingers and fullbacks just dominated them. I don't think Australia played bad per se, but I just think Australia it was just too hard. I think France they're too difficult for Australia to deal with. So, you got to give credit to France. So they got the win. Giroud is now the top scorer along with Thierry Henry, which is pretty insane. Then obviously at the end of the World Cup, Giroud is probably going to overtake Thierry Henry. So, like I said, guys, that's all the World Cup reactions. So I want you guys to comment down below your reactions in the comment section below. If you made it all the way this far, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help the channel grow. At least we really enjoy. Comment down below your thoughts in the comment section below if there's any talking points I missed, because there probably is. This is only a small review. So hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.